That intro, I do play the guitar along with Paul as well. That intro goes on for about 3 minutes. So I offered once to my band, yeah, I'll play it. And he just sat there for ages, just going on and on and on. But it is a great tune. So welcome back, everyone. I hope you had some great sessions in the breakout. So we've got another customer speaking coming up. Also got some customer awards that we're going to go through shortly. So a lot of excitement. And then we'll be breaking out and going and doing a little bit more networking before we break up for the day. So, without further ado, I think the joke I was told to say, phones to flight mode, everyone, when the clicker works. And we are going to have... You're right, Dormain, it is a little bit slow. It's like my kid's Xbox controller. It's laggy, Dad. Sort it out quickly. I'd like to introduce to the stage Diego Infiesta from Ryanair, and also our own automation specialist, Martin Van Son. Come on up. Woo! There we go. That's my tune. We want your tune. Come on up. It's a beautiful tune.
Yeah, take a seat. I'm so proud of being Dutch. Again, my name is Martin. I told the team, yes, I would like to have a speech on stage with Diego, talk about technology, but please give me the pleasure of turning some Dutch DJ music. I mean, Tim and I are sort of equivalent in age. We're actually born on the same day. But I don't like that. Give me some house and techno. Anyways, welcome, everybody. So, yeah, Diego, we're going to talk.
Yes.
So, I think it's clear that, I work for PagerDuty, but what is it that you do, Diego?
I'm infrastructure manager in Ryanair. I manage 3 teams. One is the ERP team, the Linux team, and the cloud team. Just for the peace of mind of the audience, that's not an actual plane in my picture, it's a simulator.
Well...
Just to be clear.
So I was wondering if your day is sort of done in work. Can you then go to the simulator and have a bit of fun? Or?
It's pretty booked. But that's doable, yeah.
And if you do it, does the seat sort of
yes,
move?
Yes, that's a full
experience.
It's like a 98% plane cockpit.
Ah.
Yes.
And we did talk about this before in lunch, but I was wondering, if a plane goes up, how automatic is that actually? Can it go up and down and fly fully
yes,
automatic?
I'm not 100% sure, but yes.
But you also told me there's a difference between the US planes and
Airbus and Boeing are completely 2 different things.
But what's the difference?
There are 2 different complete technologies. If you see one cockpit and see the other, it's completely different.
Now, didn't we conclude that the French Airbus is more automated than the US one? Or?
I don't recall saying that, but yes.
He did say that, actually. No, but good. So, we'll talk about automation here. Yes. You've been using the automation platform a lot.
Yes.
There is a name for that platform, and I would like all of you to participate a bit in this. If we say that name, which is called... Rundeck, you all say, because we're not allowed to say that anymore. It's called process automation,
yes.
right? So again, if I make that mistake or you make the mistake, please help me out, say, this is the only way we sort of get rid of the idea. But anyways, you started using the platform, years ago. How did you get in touch with the platform?
I think I started using it, I got the name of the open source version, which is Rundeck, on 2014. Very good.
Okay.
And then,
2014,
yes, we started using it, like Jan said before, organic growth from 2019 in Ryanair until now that we are fully onboarded into process automation.
Yeah, and 2014 until now is nearly 10 years. That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot. Yeah.
And what kind of use cases did you have at the time with the platform? What did you use it for?
Our main challenge and the game changer for us was that we had a lot of automations, tiny automations running everywhere. We didn't have this layer of orchestration wrapping it all together that process automation provides.
Yeah, so the shadow IT that I think Jen also addressed, people could download, use it, whatever they wanted.
For example, you had to see how did my batch job ended. You have to log into a box and look in the logs. So that's you're slow and inefficient. You can do a lot more with automation in place.
Yeah, definitely. And you told me about your use and how it's grown over time.
Yes.
But if you would sort of categorize the use of the platform in terms of infrastructure or data or even around incidents, well, how does it look like? How do you use it?
Pretty much we do everything. We do incident, we do data, we do all kinds of it. For example, and one classic example would be a web server stops responding at 3 a.m., right? So our goal is to avoid getting on call, reduce the on call as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, for example, a web server starts performing badly at 3 a.m. That's an alert trigger that goes to Rundeck. Rundeck tries to restart it and fix it. If not, it will engage a human. So, self-healing is very important part of our process.
Yeah.
Also, that data movement between, we are very hybrid. We have state in cloud and on-prem, and our on-prem process automation talks between cloud and on-prem back and forth.
So it's around infrastructure, it's around data jobs, but also around incidents.
Yes, and we also do it for patching, and we use it we have a standardized DR process for our systems, which is also in Rundeck. So it's easy to execute the steps on a DR without making any human mistakes.
Yeah, you said Rundeck again, and I didn't hear the audience. Come on, guys, help me out a bit. No, but maybe out of interest, please raise your hand if you're using Rundeck currently in your infrastructure. I would like. Oh, God, I'm doing it myself again. So there were quite a hands. Okay, thank you for that. So, but in the end, there was a moment that you thought like the use of the platform is extensive.
Yes.
Loads of jobs, and I think if this. Actually, I did see this at the airport. Did you see that? There's a Rundeck powered by Ryanair powered by PagerDuty. I thought it was cool. Anyways, but I think you mentioned to me how many jobs you run a day, and that sort of blown my mind a bit. If I can get to that correct. So the buzzer is doing a bit of pain here. I think this is the one, like 25,000 jobs a day.
25,000 executions daily, yes.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I did hear that. So again, but having such amount of activity from the platform, dependency grows, obviously. So if it stops working, what's the impact of the business?
Well, if it stops working, you could experience potential delays on flight. Not booking or checking, but in flights, yes.
Well, how do you mean in flights?
Flights get delayed, for example.
Okay. So there's a process, software supporting it.
Even though we have a manual backup of every automation, right? You're supposed to have a manual backup in case the automation is not available. You still could experience delays because if you're doing manual work, you're not as efficient as automation.
I think we all know that, indeed. So it really has a business impact.
Yes.
Did you ever calculate, let's say, the impact of that? Or?
No, personally, no.
Okay. But since the dependency grew over time, you were using the freemium in a way.
Yes.
There was a moment that you said it's enough.
Well,
I need to change that.
The moment of change for us was the criticality of the jobs running it and the scalability. We have a plan to have 300 million passengers by 2034, which is massive. It's double the amount of passengers we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So you have to have an automation platform that can scale up as needed.
Yeah. So at that time, are you, let's say, in the 50, 60,000 jobs a day, or?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's a lot. And security is also a point here.
Yes.
I mean,
we're using process automation for SOX audit. In the past, we reduced the amount of time we gave to the auditors. An auditor came in, and we reduced that time. It took an engineer 2 weeks to provide all the evidence to the auditor, and now we reduce this time to 90%, and we have a self-service portal with process automation for auditors. They go in, and they do the audit as they're required. They get it on email, completely self-service, and that's it.
Yeah. And you have a team that builds automation versus just the consumers?
My ERP team builds automations based, obviously, they always ask the fundamental question, why are we doing this manually?
Indeed.
Why? It doesn't make sense. So they do a job, and we get it. That's it.
And how did you, this is off script though, but within your team, do you have like specific moments in the month that you sort of come together and look at the processes and to see what other pain points you could identify and automate?
We always have these weekly catch-ups where we meet with the team and say, what did we do this week? I did this process. How many times did you do it? I did it 30 times. Okay, this is a potential candidate for automation.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
You do 20%, that means 80%, right? It's just invest a small amount of time in doing a process that will save you a lot of time down the road.
Yeah. And the processes support, let's say, customer applications
Yes.
as well as your internal applications.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we also spoke a while ago purely about data projects. And
Yes.
I think you also, I think you mentioned like one very, let's say, a complex job, which
Yes.
sort of simplified. Could you explain that a bit more?
Yes, well, this job came, right, there was a person doing downloading an FTP file from a remote site with some certain telemetry data, and he was unzipping that file and put it into a Windows share in the corporate network. But he did this like 2 or 3 times a day, and I told him, why? Why are you doing this manually? No, because I do it like this, and it works. Yeah, but it's manual work. It can be automated, and it's been automated since 2 years, no problems, and he forgot about that. That's it.
Yeah, standardized. So we see that all the time, that people start with the platform with a couple of jobs, not with 25,000, but over time, if use grows, the amount of use cases also grows with that.
For me, the one of the good benefits about in the team's morale is that you have an engineer dedicated to one task, and somebody comes up with another request. Into context switching, right? That burns people out, gets them tired because they have to leave what they're doing and attend something that is more urgent.
Yeah.
If that work that is urgent is automated with a self-service, you avoid context switching on people,
Yeah.
which is very, very stressful for engineers to hop from one topic to the other.
Agreed, agreed. And during the break, we spoke about the fact that the platform now has the capability to sort of add the amount of time that the job normally takes versus
Yes.
what it... Are you going to use that as well?
Yes, we are. Yeah, yeah. We are actually using metrics to see if the job is extending the average duration. That could indicate a potential problem with the job, or something that we need to look into it. So we are doing automation, and we're doing prediction over automation to see if we're going to have potential issue, a scalability issue, or something is going on with this job that you see the graphs that is taking more and more time. Either we are processing more data, or we need more compute power to address it, or something is going on with that job.
Correct, yeah. I think we all are faced daily with, let's say, the development of AI and generative AI. How do you look at it from your perspective?
To be honest, I don't think much about generative AI, but it crossed my mind the idea that to have an LLM model to bring self-service more friendly to customers, right? Don't give them a GUI to work, to ask a bot, did my job finish okay? What were the timings? And the bot can go back to run it through the API and get it back.
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But why did you eventually choose to go for PagerDuty? Let's say the PagerDuty Process Automation. Why?
I think Jan addressed that question also. I don't want to repeat myself, but it was so easy to deploy and to start working that you see benefits right away. So that's easy when you don't have a complicated deployment. You can use a Docker image to deploy it and start testing with it, and you see outcome right away, which is something, it's very difficult to see outcomes on many applications right away. They are so complex. This is not the case of Rundeck/process automation.
Yeah, adoption, easy adoption.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot. Yeah, in terms of future, what are your plans with, let's say, the platform in general and automation? How do you look at that?
Well, continue with automations, continue to automate as much tasks that are worthy of automation, right? Something that you do once a year, it's not a good candidate for automation, but something that you do, if you measure your work and you do this 3-4 times a day, or even daily, it's worth automation. Scale up, continue to build on resiliency. That's very important for us. Even though we have a manual workaround, it's like I said, we have more than 3,000 flights per day. Doing it manually, it's a very tedious process.
Yeah. So the effect is on the customer side, but also on your team. So let's look at the customer side. How do you think the customer sort of experience the automation is being used within Ryanair?
Well, at the beginning, to be honest, there was some rejection because why change it? We're doing it this way. It's not very good, but it works. Again, it took some time, organic build on top of that, showing them that they can be more efficient, more self-service, and at the end of the road, it works.
Okay. And on the teams?
The same thing, the self-service portal for us, for example, they used to give me this report, right? Again, it took time for an engineer that was doing something else to attend to a report, which is critical for the business. And we automated these reports, and now they're getting on their own, and they're very happy with it.
So there's a central place people go to, and
Yes.
they request what they want, push a button, and
Yeah.
done. Isn't it what we sort of in the industry now talk about, let's say, internal developer portals,
Yes.
platform engineering?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds familiar. Okay. We did hear that somebody else has called their Rundeck like a name.
Yeah.
I think I did hear Rita. I know that in France they call it Marvin. We got some French customers using it, Marvin. You don't have a name for the platform yet,
not
do
yet.
you?
Not yet. Let's see, when it grows more, which it will, give it a name, probably.
Maybe you can call it Martin or something, or just an idea, or.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Anyway, so anybody in the audience having any questions about the use of the platform by Ryanair? Over there, yes, go on.
Okay. So yeah, just kind of double clicking into the expanded use that you're doing for the automated platform, Rundeck. How do you deal with it when it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, right? So the more kind of mission critical type of things that you're tying into this, if it breaks and you've got suddenly maybe 1,000, 10,000 of these running, there's a kind of like a new problem space emerging there, right? So it's kind of the operational control of this type of automation. Is that something that you've started to encounter yet? Do you have any kind of like additional analytic approaches to kind of managing that type of thing?
Well, observability and of all the components involved in the solution is vital for us. Because we came from the open source version and we had to support ourselves, we became really good with observability and monitoring. So we got Prometheus bundled in for every component. And obviously we do stress tests on DR of the platform pretty much daily. In fact, we have a DR side and a productive side, which are both firing jobs. And with the advantage of the auto job takeover, if we lose one of the sites, it will go to the other one. So it's kind of we have a continuous DR running. So we have a backup in place if the primary sites have issues.
And maybe to fill in myself, by the way, is my microphone working or am I not loud enough? Okay. No, but it's funny. We do have customers that use the output of the platform as an input for PagerDuty because it's an incident. Yeah. So you got a sort of a cycle, which makes purely sense. Any other question?
Where do you see? Oh, sorry. Where do you see the crossover between automation and code fix? We talked a lot about automation today. Is automation the new way of coding, or are you still doing code fix? Because not a lot of people have talked about where they're pushing back on developers to get stuff fixed in a quicker amount of time. Everything's talked about as being an automation. I know that's what we're here to talk about, but what was your experience in that area?
Well, to be honest, from the infrastructure point of view, we don't deal much with developer problems, but we do treat jobs in the platform as code. We have them versioned with the SSM plugin, so we have full audit and commits. We do evaluate and pull requests weekly of all the jobs that all the changes have been done to it. So in a nutshell, we treat the jobs as code. So that's the way we work.
Any other question?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I have just one question. My question is more general. I can hear like a lot of people talking about self-service. A lot of jobs are automated. At the end, there is a developer that has to do something, right? So how can he find which job he has to run? Because at scale, he get like maybe 100 jobs potentially that can run. How do you deal with that? Like name convention or some documentation?
Okay, so to address that, we have extensive documentation on the jobs, and we find very, very useful on process automation the tag base. You can tag jobs. So effectively, you tag jobs per project, and you assign ACLs to people to allow that project. And based on tags, they can see the whole execution plan of all the jobs that they have, and they know which one is failing and which one they need to take into consideration. That was also a game changer for us, moving away from the open source version to the tagging convention on the process automation. It changes the way that you find, because when you have a lot of jobs like we do, sometimes it's very difficult to find the proper job that is failing. Even though you have monitoring in place, my A process is delayed. Where do I need to look for? And you probably find that all the jobs are tagged A. So you can see, by looking for tags, all the execution, all the jobs named A. That's the way the enrichment of the dashboard gives us for the process automation part.
It's basically the control aspect. You get way more control of the
Yes.
automation being taking place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? I think everybody's ready for a beer or a wine. Well, before we do,
how do you measure your success? So we're talking a lot about the technical side of things here, but how are you measuring, in terms of time saved, maybe cost savings that have been achieved, productivity savings across your team?
Well, I don't have a specific metrics because we don't do that, but my benefit of the automation is that engineers can focus on improvement, training, cloud adoption, cost optimization. We are more efficient. That's it. That's a benefit for us.
the business output is clear.
Yes.
But again, within the platform, we created something new that you can sort of measure the
That's
time.
something that I
time
will look
saved.
into it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good. I like this. Another question, please. Last one.
Okay, hello. Yeah, so there are a lot of benefits, and that's apparent, but what are the trade-offs? Like, it can't all be good, right, in all aspects. There must be some trade-offs or challenges. So what are they?
The challenges that we had at the beginning was rejection because it was something new. And maybe it's you're being very efficient, and when you have to do it manually, you're not as efficient. So you're getting a throughput of work done automatically, and if you have to do it manually, you won't have the same. So you're setting the bar too high, and then when you do have to do it manually, or have to do it manually for some reason, the output is not as efficient as the human output, as the server output.
One more just to follow up. If it goes down,
Yes.
then what happens? In the case where PagerDuty is not available and you are reliant on this, then what happens then?
To be honest, we moved to the enterprise version because of that. In the past, we had only one single node, and it could potentially lead to a single point of failure. Now that we have a secondary 2 nodes or 3, it doesn't matter if one of them go down, because the other will take the jobs, which we didn't have in the open source version. So you have to have a catastrophic failure of everything to don't have 2 nodes and 2 separate data centers available to execute jobs.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I see the clock blinking 000, so I think, Diego, I want to thank you a lot.
No problem.
It was a very good conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diego.
Thank you.